Tonight's big stories. The Environment and Health Departments report that 26 out of 35 sampling stations in Puerto Galera failed to meet water quality standards. With this, the DOH advises the public to refrain from occupational and recreational water activities in Puerto Galera due to the presence of oil and grease contaminants. Though there's no official advice yet on whether the famous tourist spot will be shut down, the Tourism Department warns that doing so will result in daily losses of at least 5.3 million pesos.
The Senate Committee on Basic Education is having more and more doubts about the effectiveness of the K-12 program. Panel Chairman Sherwin Gatchalian says the rate of unemployed K-12 graduates is slowly rising. And those who do manage to find jobs find themselves in occupations requiring low-level skills.
And the country is mourning the passing of former Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario, who passed away at the age of 83. Del Rosario spearheaded the successful arbitration case that resulted in the 2016 legal victory for the Philippines in connection with the South China Sea dispute.
From the nation's capital, I'm Gretchen Mo.
I'm Sean Yao.
And I'm Regina Lay. This is the big story tonight. $5.3 million pesos per day. That is the amount of losses estimated by the Tourism Department if Oriental Mindoro's famous Puerto Galera will be shut down due to the effects of the oil spill.
Though the tourist destination remains open for tourists, a recent report shows that majority of sampling stations in Puerto Galera failed to meet the DENR's water quality standards.
This prompted the Health Department to issue a warning against fishing and recreational activities in areas contaminated by oil and grease. Arian Calumbiran with a big story.
26 out of 35 sampling stations in Puerto Galera have failed to pass water quality standards due to high levels of oil and grease. That's the result of the latest water quality test conducted by the Environment Department in the municipality. In a joint statement, the DOH and DENR noted that only 9 sampling stations met the criteria under the Water Quality Guidelines and General Effluent Standards of 2016. Despite this, Environment Secretary Tony Yulo Loizaga says banning of water activities will depend on the assessment of the Health Department. The DOH has yet to release a statement on the possible banning of water activities, but the agency advises the public to exercise caution when conducting water-related activities like fishing or swimming and to refrain from consuming water from affected areas due to potential health hazards. The public is also advised to avoid consumption of contaminated fish, shellfish, and other seafood products. Despite this, Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco warned that closing Puerto Galera could result to at least 5.3 million pesos in daily losses. She noted that Puerto Galera contributes no less than 85% of Oriental Mindoro's tourism economy.
So we've all seen the devastation that can be caused by a tourism destination being shut down. So what is critical really right now is the protection not just of life but also of the livelihood of the tourism workers that critically depend on the continuation of the tourism industry.
Citing data from the province, the DOT chief says the impact of the oil spill in Oriental Mindoro's tourism industry has hit at least 900 million pesos. Frasco has earlier joined a scuba diving activity in La Laguna Point, Puerto Galera to show support for the popular tourist spot. She says if water activities will be banned in Puerto Galera, the agency has prepared alternative livelihood trainings for affected locals.
It is an overall approach towards managing the present tourism destination that is not yet affected by the oil spill, as well as assisting the tourism destinations that are already affected by the oil spill, all the while prioritizing life and balancing that with the need to protect livelihood.
Arian Calumbiran, We Are One News.
Pamplona Mayor Janice Degamo, the wife of slain Governor Roel Degamo, claims that the Teves brothers are involved in other politically motivated killings in Negros Oriental. Mobile journalist Michelle Giliang with the report.
The killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo has become a bridge to uncover the flaws of the criminal justice system in the province. This was stated by Pamplona Mayor Janice Degamo during the continuation of the Senate investigation on the assassination of her husband. She accused the Teves family of having a private army that may be behind other killings.
The connection, makikita niyo po, the murderer of one victim is the same murderer of 2 or 3 more victims. Makikita mo yung connection that it has been there for so long a time. Bakit naman yung namatay ng 2011 o 2012 ay magkakaroon ng the same perpetrator, the same gunman sa namatay ng 2018, 2019, and 2020. The presence of private armed groups by the Teveses is real and true.
Mayor Janice also alleged that Congressman Arnie Teves has control over the police in the province, including the prosecutors.
Pag ang Teves ang kalaban natin, walang lawyer na tatanggap sa iyo. May problema po tayo sa fiskalya at sa prosecution. Minsan, ang fiskal pa mismo ang magdadala ng papel at i-encourage ka na umatras na lang.
The mayor is worried that the same thing might happen to their city, just like what happened in Marawi City.
Your province could be the next Marawi. Only terrorist groups are in possession of bombs.
Recently, suspected improvised explosive devices and thousands of bullets were discovered in the company compound of former Governor Pride Henry Teves. However, he denied ownership of the recovered items. It was also revealed that during the investigation that there is an ongoing illegal isabong operation in Negros Oriental.
It is public knowledge in Negros Oriental that the money of the Teveses comes from the isabong STL. Katong mga babae na maghuhubad at mag-press ka doon, magbabayad ka ng 99 pesos. Ano yan? Hindi nyo yan alam, Chair?
Teves, meanwhile, had this to say.
I am not involved in any gaming or numbers games. In fact, I already gave my waiver to my bank because in all my assets. You can check it for the last 15 years. Kung bigla ba akong yumaman, kung may pera bang pumasok, or may nabili ba akong mga lupa na biglang hindi mo alam saan galing yung pera.
Meanwhile, Senator Bato de la Rosa, who is leading the Senate probe, denied allegations that he is a puppet of the Teveses.
Hindi po kaya bayaran ako, hindi po ako naging tuta, at hindi po ako related sa mga Teves for full disclosure purposes.
The hearing will continue tomorrow, and former regional and provincial directors of Negros Oriental are among those who have been summoned. De La Rosa also emphasized that the Senate is still open for Congressman Teves to personally defend himself.
Now, other developments were revealed by Mayor Janice against the Teveses. Michelle Giliang is back to tell us what those are.
Sean, according to Pamplona Mayor Janice Degamo, she plans to make public a video of her husband saying Congressman Arnie Teves and his younger brother, former Negros Oriental Governor Henry Teves, were threatening his security. Mayor Janice also urged the suspended lawmaker to physically attend the Senate investigation for the sake of fairness. Sean?
Thanks, Michelle.
The video speaks for itself. That's the response of Interior Secretary Benhur Abalos to the claim of PNP Chief Rodolfo Azurin that there was no cover-up during the 6.7 billion peso drug haul in October last year. In a statement, Abalos said the CCTV footage from last year's anti-drug operation speaks for itself. Azurin has earlier insisted that there was no cover-up during the operation, even warning Abalos that some people may be feeding him the wrong information. Abalos says that while he respects Azurin, the public deserves to know the truth about what went on in the bust. The DILG Secretary also expressed trust that the National Police Commission, or NAPOLCOM, will thoroughly investigate the matter. The PNP, for its part, says it will cooperate and clarifies that there is no conflict between the DILG and the police.
Hindi naman po natin tinitignan na problema yan. And in fact, maganda nga po yan, may check and balance. In fact, we are treating these issues as a challenge for the PNP to improve all its policies and programs. Meanwhile, the government is assuring the safety of overseas Filipino workers or OFWs in Taiwan, as well as those in other countries. In a statement, the DFA expressed its commitment to safeguarding the welfare of all Filipino workers abroad. This statement follows remarks made by Chinese Ambassador Wang Xilian over the weekend, saying that the Philippines should oppose Taiwan's independence if it really cares about the 150,000 Filipino workers on the island, which, of course, many perceived as a threat. The DFA noted that its dealings with other countries have always been on the basis of quote-unquote mutual respect and adherence to international law. Meanwhile, Manila Economic and Cultural Office Chair Sylvester Bello assures the public that OFWs remain well protected in Taiwan and that there's no tension on the island.
The situation is very normal. Walang mga OFWs na nagsasabi sa amin na gusto nilang umuwi. Philippine community natin doon is well organized. They meet regularly and they have plans just in case of an emergency. Meron silang mga plano. So we have nothing to worry about.
Up next, Army Chief Lieutenant General Romeo Browner Jr. has approved administrative charges against former PSG Chief Brigadier General Jesus Durante and 6 of his subordinates in connection to the 2022 murder of Davao-based model and businesswoman Yvonette Chua Plaza. We'll look into that and more when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching the big story here on One News. Court-martial proceedings against 2 senior Philippine Army officials tagged in the killing of a Davao City-based model will start this week. Brigadier General Jesus Durante, Colonel Michael Licyayo, and 5 other military men will face military trial over the murder of Yvonne Plaza last year. Administrative charges against them have been approved, and the case has been referred to the General Court-Martial. A parallel trial by a civilian court will also be conducted. Plaza was gunned down in December of last year in Davao City by 2 men in a motorcycle. Durante has been tagged as the mastermind behind the killing, while Licyayo is allegedly the one who orchestrated the hit.
Here to talk to us about what to expect in this court-martial, we have Philippine Army spokesperson Colonel Cerces Trinidad. Colonel, thanks for joining us tonight. Welcome to the big story. Could you just give us a quick update, please, on the court-martial of Brigadier General, Jesus Durante?
Yes, Ma'am, Ma'am Sean, and good evening, Ma'am Regina and Ma'am Gretchen. Just recently, the Commanding General has approved the charges against these particular officers involved in the said Murder Plaza case. And it was referred basically to the General Court Martial, which has already convened basically this today. And we are still waiting for the particular reports coming from the headquarters of the 10th Infantry Division. The General Court Martial is presided, and the President Court is Major General Nembra of the 10th Infantry Division.
All right, Colonel Cerces, if you don't mind us being civilians over here, can you talk us through the process as well as the timeline of this particular court-martial against Brigadier General Durante?
Basically, the general court martial is the same as with the different civilian courts in the criminal or civilian courts. In this particular proceedings, there will be a defense and a prosecution, and it will be determined by the members of the court martial or the general court martial being organized. Said court martial is actually right now has convened, and it will go through with the different proceedings, same as with the civilian courts.
Does it proceed as fast as a civilian court does? Or can you tell us about this specific case and when the timelines are, particularly in the interest of the public, sir?
Well, on its particular military proceedings, we cannot determine if we could give a specific timeline on the merits of the defense and the merits of the prosecution that's going to happen. So basically, we are to, from time to time, keep the public updated on what's happening and on what's the decision of the General Court Martial as if it is being approved by the Commanding General of the Philippine Army.
Colonel, taking a look at the charges, it's in violation of Article of War 96 and 97. Both are with regard to conduct unbecoming of an officer and discrediting the military. What happens if they are found guilty of these? And can other charges be filed related to the murder, the theft, obstruction of justice?
Ma'am, let us try to first distinguish that this is an administrative case filed against these particular officers and enlisted personnel. Is a different case being filed in the criminal courts for a particular murder case against these officers and enlisted personnel. So these particular violations of Articles of War 96 are charged against Brigadier General Durante and Colonel Michael Lecyayo. And the Article of War 97 is being charged to the different enlisted personnel involved in this particular case.
All right, where is Brigadier General Jesus Durante at this moment, as well as the others that have been charged, I think Colonel Lecyayo and others?
Well, just yesterday, they were transported for the start of the convening of the General Court Martial. The two officers which was restricted and under the custody of the headquarters Filipino Army were already transported to the headquarters of the 10th Infantry Division, and they are now under the custody of 10 ID for the military proceedings that's going to take place. And just today, the General Court Martial has convened.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us, Philippine Army spokesperson Colonel Cerces Trinidad. Meanwhile, K-12 graduates are having a hard time finding quality work, prompting more concern over the benefits of the program. But apart from apprehensions about the curriculum, a Senate panel is urging the need for workplaces to bet on young talent. JC Cosico with the report.
The kids are not all right. This is what the Senate Committee on Basic Education found in its report. It turns out that around 7% or close to 190,000 K-12 graduates remained jobless in 2022. This is quite a jump from the 40,000 unemployed senior high grads back in 2018. In 2021, over half of graduates in the academic and technical vocational livelihood tracks were able to find work. But the problem is, they only landed elementary occupations, or work that only requires low-level skills. Because of this, Senator Gatchalian thinks that 2 additional years under K-12 are just a waste of time.
We added 2 years, but the jobs they're getting there's no added value to them. I don't see any value also in the senior high school. Personally, from the numbers that I'm seeing.
Gatchalian also sees some fault in government agencies.
Government itself is the greatest violator of our K-12 law. We're lumping them together with the old 10-year high school system. So there's no value for our senior high school students in the eyes of the government.
Gatchalian now wants the Civil Service Commission to explain why this is happening. On the part of employers, the lack of soft skills among K-12 grads is an issue.
In the long run, soft skills ang talagang hinahanap ng employers, while ang hard skills naman are easier to learn when you are older.
Dole is now proposing to have better immersion for senior high students.
We respectfully recommend na it's more of immersion or more of simulation po sana nung workplace yung ating ma-integrate sa curriculum. Like how they will be able to be confident, communicate properly. Kasi yung mga soft skills, yes, we recognize po na yun ang nagiging challenge.
DepEd admits there are challenges implementing the decade-old K-12 program. The department is hoping to finish its review on the curriculum this year.
And while we've yet to see what exact updates will be introduced to the basic education curriculum, some senators do already have some things to say. JC Cosico was able to get some insights from Senator Raffy Tulfo. JC, what do you have?
Reg, if you ask Senator Raffy Tulfo, the K-12 program should include basic life skills. This includes things like road safety and driving, as well as first aid and emergency response. It would be something similar to the US, where driver's education is already integrated into high school programs. Basically, what he wants is some adulting lessons started under K-12.
Thanks for that, JC Cosico of News 5.
A dedicated diplomat through and through. This is how former Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario is being remembered. Del Rosario passed away this morning. He was 83. Del Rosario served as DFA chief under the late President Noynoy Aquino. He played a critical role in leading the Philippines to victory in its arbitration case against China. But before that, he served as Philippine ambassador to the United States under former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Del Rosario also has vast experience in the private sector, having served as board director of over 50 companies. He was chairman of Stratbase ADR Institute, an independent research group focused on governance, international affairs, and peace and security. Details of his wake and interment will be announced later on. But for now, tributes continue to pour in for the late diplomat. His former office described him as a staunch advocate of national security and people's rights. Incumbent Foreign Affairs Chief Enrique Manalo also extended his condolences to the family. He called Del Rosario an inspiring leader who helmed the DFA with integrity. Ambassadors likewise sent their deepest condolences to Del Rosario's loved ones as they commemorate his contribution to strengthening foreign relations during his term in the DFA. Stratbase also honored its late chairman, calling him a statesman of the highest level and a champion of democratic values. Our sympathies are also with the Del Rosario family, and we're going to pause for a quick break, but right after that, the national government is doubling down on efforts against El Niño that is expected to hit later this year. A closer look on the preparations when we return. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You are still watching The Big Story here on One News.
President Bongbong Marcos has directed all concerned government agencies for a public information campaign that will educate Filipinos on El Niño. Maricel Halili with the details.
Long lines could be seen among those fetching water, as well as those collecting water from a swimming pool. These are just some of the scenes whenever there is a water shortage in the dam due to lack of rainwater. Pag-asa has warned that the country may experience the effects of the expected drought caused by El Niño in the latter part of this year. So as early as now, President Bongbong Marcos is already mobilizing government agencies to prevent this kind of ordeal from happening again.
Inutos niya kanina na dapat magkaroon tayo ng public awareness campaign at immediately, lalo na simulan dapat ng mga government agencies, institutions, including mga public institutions ng mga eskwelahan or schools, na magtipid na agad ng tubig bago pa lumala yung problema natin.
The president also instructed the Department of Health to prepare for possible illnesses that may arise from severe drought. Meanwhile, the National Irrigation Authority will be tasked to monitor the condition of the dams.
The best flood control project is water management. Sa long term, dapat talaga high dams. Because when you have high dams, hindi lamang yung El Niño ang pinaprevent mo, pati La Niña.
Pag-asa warned that before we experience severe drought, the country will first experience heavy rainfall. This, however, is not new to the country. In 2009, Typhoon Ondoy brought heavy rainfall and severe flooding that damaged many homes and caused loss of lives. After that, the country experienced a severe drought until 2010 due to El Niño.
So generally, up to September, may mga ulan po tayong inaasahan. Yung peak ng maraming bagyo for El Niño events ay nangyayari po during the month of July.
According to Pag-asa's estimate, the probability of an El Niño occurrence has increased from 55% to 80% in June, July, August, and September. This will increase further to 87% come November, December, and January. With this, the Pag-asa is poised to issue an El Niño alert next month.
On the other hand, Quezon City is seeing a spike in dengue cases. The local government reported around 440 dengue cases from January 1 to April 8. That is up 176% from the same period last year. But the city's health department noted that this is due to improvements in their surveillance system, which enabled them to properly record new cases. Still, health authorities warned that dengue, of course, could be fatal, and those experiencing symptoms are advised to go to the health center or hospital if their fever lasts more than 2 days. The public is also advised to check their surroundings for stagnant water pools. That's a favorite breeding ground for Aedes aegypti, the type of mosquito that usually carries the dengue virus. Now that many are stocking up on water due to frequent water interruptions, the DOH is also advising the public to always keep containers well covered. Ano ba yan, guys? Double whammy. We have El Niño plus a dengue.
Do we collect water or do we not collect water?
We collect water, but we have to cover it properly.
Okay. Properly, good reminder.
The message.
Yeah. Also, during the pandemic, we tried this thing from the DOST. It was being sold in our village fiber. It's called an OL pellet. So it's basically an ovicide, larvicide. It looks like it's a black cup with the DOST logo. Then you put the little wooden stick, and apparently, there's of course pellets that you dissolve in water, and this attracts the mommy mosquitoes into there.
Does it work?
It works, but it's also, to be perfectly honest, a little bit hard to maintain because you have to keep on checking it, making sure that, cleaning it out and putting the new OL stuff in there. But it works.
Mura ba yan? Mura.
Mura siya, Gretch. And I think they have deployed this. And you can buy from the OST. It's cheap, it's affordable, it's just a little bit matrabaho. Yun lang. Mas less matrabaho mag-off na lang or mag-jogging pants.
Tama. If they don't have access to that, so they should watch out for the sources of these mosquitoes where they breed, usually in dark areas, usually in humid, high temperature. And yun nga, yung mga where you collect water.
Yeah.
So
The
yung
balde.
Cooling of water. Yeah, in the plant
the
pots.
yes.
The plant pots are crazy. When you shake the leaves, A bunch of them.
And
come
usually
flying out.
the mosquitoes come out and bite early in the morning and evening before dusk. So better stay in your homes at that time.
And the Aedes aegypti, if you guys are nerdy enough, they have little white
Ewan ko
stripes.
sa inyo, basta for me, the message is please don't waste water. We're facing
That's
El
true,
Niño
that's true,
and,
that's true.
you know, there is a dengue scare. For now, that is the big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star and Business World online. You may also log on to onenews.ph for more in-depth analyses. I'm Regina Lay.
The big story is also available via Signal Play app. Make a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. I'm Sean Yao. Stay safe, Philippines.
And I'm Gretchen Hall. We are One News, all sides, all the time.